Hey everyone, Eric here. In this video, we're checking out the JC Pre from Master Effects. The JC Pre is a recreation of the preamp section of a jazz chorus amp. It's stuffed into a pedal, it's easy to use, and it has multiple uses. Before we get into the features of the pedal, let's go ahead and talk about the signal chain. Right now I'm using this Jazzmaster into the Fat B from Beatronics just to add a little bit of drive here and there. Then we're going into the JC Pre, and then from the JC Pre, how we have it set up now is we're going into the effects return of a Marshall DSL-20. That means we're bypassing the preamp of the DSL-20 because this pedal is meant to be used as a traditional preamp. So let's go ahead and get into it. We have a few different controls. We have an overall volume right here on the top right. So if we turn it down, we're gonna get quieter sounds. If we turn it up, we're gonna get louder sounds. And as I mentioned, the JC Pre is meant to be used as a traditional preamp, meaning it has a ton of output volume on tap to drive something like a solid state power amp, or like we're sending it into the effects return of a tube amp and driving that power section. Inside the JC Pre, we're taking the 9 volts that we send into the pedal and it's charging it and multiplying it up to 30 volts. And that's one reason why it's so loud and it has so much headroom. Over on the left-hand side, we have our EQ controls, and that consists of treble, which means treble, mid for mids, and then bass for low end. And from here, we can really fine tune our sound. So if we turn the treble down all the way, we're gonna get a very dark sound. As we start to turn that treble up, we're going to get a brighter and brighter sound. The mid lets us control that mid-range kind of honkiness. If we turn it down, we're gonna get a mid-scoop sound, so it's a little bit fuller on the low end and the top end, but not as much mid-range. As we turn that mid-range up, we're gonna get more and more mids. And then of course, we have the bass control. This is the low end frequencies, the fullness of the sound. So if we turn the bass down, we're gonna get a really thin sound. And then as we increase the bass control, we're gonna get a fuller and fuller sound. Now next to our EQ section below the output volume, we have a couple toggle switches. On the right hand side, we have the gain toggle switch. On the left hand side, we have the bright toggle switch. The gain toggle switch gives the effect of plugging into either the high input or the low input on the amp. Up is the high input on the gain toggle, and then down is the low input. What we've been hearing so far is the high gain setting, but if we turn it to the low gain setting, you'll hear that we get less gain overall and a little bit less output. Next to the gain, we have the bright toggle. In the down position, it's the stock circuit. If we turn the bright toggle to the top position, it adds in a bright cap on the volume control, which means at lower volume settings, we're going to get a brighter sound. But as we start to increase the volume control all the way at the top end of the sweep, we hear less and less of an effect. So the bright control is very interactive with the overall output volume. So now what we can do is, let's say we turn on the Fat B. This gives us a little bit of overdrive, but what we can do is we can boost our signal going into the JC Pre, which means we'll have to turn down that overall volume. So now, as you can see, we have the volume down to less than 50%, probably around like 30 to 40%, which means now if we engage the bright toggle, it's going to be more drastic of an effect. So now we have the bass plugged into the same effects chain, so let's go ahead and hear how the JC Pre sounds on bass. All EQ at noon, gain on the high gain setting, and the bright switch enabled with the volume at 50%. Let's go ahead and increase the bass, maybe turn the mids down a little bit, and then turn the treble up, see how that sounds. And the last thing I want to touch on is the fact that there is an XLR output on the side of the JC Pre. And to demonstrate that, I've set up kind of a more complex signal chain. So we're still using the Jazzmaster, but now we're going through all of these pedals right here. And what we're doing is we're going from the Dark World, then into the JC Pre, and then from the JC Pre, we're going into the T60, and the T60 is going out to the effects return. We're also taking a DI signal out of the XLR output on the side right there, and we're running that straight into my interface on my computer. And that gives us a lot of flexibility because we can use software like speaker simulation or amp simulation to really mold and affect whatever we send out of that DI signal on the computer. Now I've set up a sound with a little bit of drive from the iron drive, a little bit of delay from the electric glove delay, a lot of reverb from the dark world, and then we're going into the JC pre and the chorus is not on. And what I'll do in editing, flip back and forth between the signal that's going out into the amp in the room here, and then the signal that we're sending out of the DI into the interface. Now I want to replicate a stereo chorus sound because that's one thing that the Jazz Chorus amp is very famous for. So what we have is again the DI output, which is dry, going into our interface, which is giving us a non-chorused or non-modulated signal. And then we're taking the output of the JC pre and running it into the Demo-Dash T60. Now the Demo-Dash T60 is a vibrato chorus pedal. And then from there, we're running into the amp. So what we have is we have one signal with chorus on it, and then we have another dry signal that we can apply essentially whatever effect we want. We can also pan them pretty far apart to get that really wide chorus sound. I hope you enjoyed this look at the JC Pre from Master Effects. If you did like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. That really helps out. Also, if you do like gear demos and instructional videos like this one, be sure to check the backlog on the channel. I have tons and tons of videos here. If you want to learn any more about the JC Pre, I'm going to leave a link to the Master Effects website in the description below. Also, while you're down there, if you're looking to purchase any sort of music gear, I do have affiliate links down there to Sweetwater, Reverb, and Amazon. What it does is when you click those links, it takes you directly to that site or product. It lets that site know that I sent you, and then anything you buy from that website doesn't cost you anything extra, but it gives me a small commission. So it saves you time, it doesn't cost anything extra, and it's a great way to help support the channel if you want to do so. I also want to send a huge thank you to my Patreon fam, my supporters over there on Patreon. I really appreciate all of you. And then again, I want to thank you for watching the video. I hope you're doing well out there. I hope you're staying safe. And most of all, I hope you're taking care of yourself.